Maybe it's because I untangled all your cords, some of which were literally in knots. There were knots in the audio cables. So let me know if it sounds okay knots? Tonight. Did you see them?
Yeah, I did. That's a tough. Well, it's not how we keep it. It's what happens around here.
There, like that. You like that.
So one thing you're gonna find. Well, you guys with kids already know this. Something you don't think about when you're I was gonna say when you're a straight guy. One thing you don't notice when you're a guy without kids before you have a kid. Is you never have to, like, I was going to put on Rudolph for Peter to watch down in his jail downstairs. But I figured the Abominable Snowman might scare him. So I had to factor that in. So you have to factor who the bad guy is.
He's too little to be scared.
I don't know.
Why do you keep putting on Ice Age? It's such an awful movie.
Because it gets his attention. All the animals and the quick movements gets his attention. It's a rubbish movie. It really is. The difference between Ice Age and like to the Toy Stories are just but we do like Ray. What's his name? Ray Milano. What's his name? Ray Romano.
Oh,
in
okay.
Ice Age. Ray Romano, a card-carrying Republican. As a matter of fact, he said his whole family is absolutely. And okay, so I'm gonna start here with something that just made me hurl over the weekend. Is this Stephanie Rule was on Bill Maher along with Brett Stevens, who's a total pussy, by the way. You're gonna hear it too.
Yeah.
Come on, Brett. Jesus. And they had a conversation, and she has the exact mindset of everybody. And by the way, you notice how Harris Walls. I've taken walks. I took one this morning. It's catching on. Everybody's getting Harris Walls signage. Absolutely.
I know political people who swear that the more signs someone has, the more likely they are to lose.
Really?
I don't know. I've just heard political people say that.
Well, if that's a sign, then that's good for Trump. So here we go.
I don't think he's going to win Massachusetts.
Listen to Stephanie Rule, who's I think she used to do for comms for Hillary or something. Who knows? But she's a big progressive. And Brett Stevens. And listen, this is where the left is calibrated as far as, the cognitive logic making.
Set of questions. It's not too much to ask Kamala, say, are you for a Palestinian state if Hamas is going to run that state?
Okay.
Yes or no?
And let's say you don't like her answer. Are you going to vote for Donald Trump?
No, I'm not.
Kamala
I just said I'm not going to vote for her.
She's not running for perfect. She's running against Trump. We have two choices. And so there are some things you might not know her answer to. And in 2024, unlike 2016 for a lot of the American people, we know exactly what Trump will do, who he is, and the kind of threat he is to democracy.
I don't know.
So it's unclear to me how there could be an informed...
The problem that a lot of people have with Kamala is we don't know her answer to anything, okay?
But you know his answer to everything.
And that's why I would never vote for him, and people shouldn't vote for him. But people also are expected to have some idea of what the program is of the person you're supposed to vote for. You're just not supposed to say, well, you have to vote for Y because X is this, that, and the other. Let's find out a little bit more. And I don't think it's a lot to ask her to sit down for a real interview as opposed to a puff piece in which she describes, like, her feelings of growing up in Oakland with nice lawns.
Then I would just say to that, when you move to Nirvana, give me your real estate broker's number and I'll be your next door neighbor. We don't live there.
So you get the point. In other words, no, just do it. You just can't. It's not a matter of debate whatsoever. Just stop it. Just stop it.
Stop asking Kamala stupid questions about things and about stupid policies and other things, especially if it might hurt her. This is too important. It's too important we defeat Trump. You can't ask her any questions. It's not important what her policies are. And by the way, her policies are extremely radical.
Well, yeah, but also, like, this makes because Project 2025, this makes that sound like a well-reasoned argument.
Yeah.
This is so like freaking lazy. So the answer to why you have those lawn signs on this street, why you have those signs that say hate is not great and it's about Madame Time is because Trump. It doesn't matter. It's
Right.
just, now, are there enough of those voters in the world?
Well, no, of course there's not. And that's the short-sightedness of this policy making decision, of this campaign. What is happening with the audio right now? It's going up and down.
I'm just turning my headphones down.
That's the short-sightedness of this campaign strategy of we're not answering any questions and we are not putting forward any of our policies, is that the people that they are trying to convince are not sitting there in that room with them. They are not the people with the About Madame Time lawn signs. It's about 100,000 people across Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, maybe Georgia, North Carolina, Arizona. I mean, like, there's very limited people that you have to convince, and they're not convinced yet. You know, this is, if you're a Democrat, then this is way too close for comfort, considering that Trump is like not that popular. He's a very beatable candidate, but they happen to choose like the least substantive person on the entire left of American politics to be their standard bearer here. So far you've convinced and got enthusiastic all the lunatics who are going to vote for whoever's not Trump no matter what, including your buddy here, Brett Stevens, including like all these people. But she's mad at him because he's raising the point that you have to convince some like normal people in Pennsylvania who are like between the two and aren't sure who to vote for yet. You're not just talking about the people who have like extreme Trump derangement syndrome. They're already going to vote that way. And you hear she like literally cannot. She lacks the mental fitness to put herself into somebody else's shoes. She thinks she's trying to convince Brett Stevens that he's supposed to, well, what are you going to vote for Trump? Like, no, I'm not. I'm talking about winning an election, which means I have to convince somebody else who's not me. But she can't put her mind that big to make her see something from somebody else's point of view who's maybe like worried about the price of groceries or something, you know, or who's worried about the extremes in American politics. Kamala said she wants to get rid of the filibuster.
Right.
So, you know, like, so we're talking about really people who don't want an escalation of extreme politics, people who thought things were going pretty well under Trump and need to be convinced, like, what are you going to do, Kamala, that's going to be so much better than what you've done with Biden, which has sucked, by the way, which has been terrible. And frankly, like, this lack of imagination amongst Kamala's campaign staff, for anybody who's not them, is like, it's out of control. They're running a very online, very, you know, gin up the base kind of campaign without thinking about swing voters like at all, which is why they're tied with one of the least popular people in American politics, who's Donald Trump.
Well,
right? Like, and I don't know, this story that I saw on Twitter about James Carville, did you see this? I mean, I don't know if this is true, but
no, you said Trump could win?
Well, he publicly said he thinks Trump could win, which is interesting on its face. But
I'm not surprised he said that. He doesn't like this woke crap. He doesn't.
No, he doesn't like this.
He likes retail politics, and he's not. He's mad.
Yeah, but so I saw this from an anon Twitter account, but you know, who knows. According to a source who was on a Harris Wells campaign training call attended by veteran campaign strategist James Carville, Carville went ballistic, yelling expletives at two young Democrat staffers, including Olivia Giuliano, who works for the Colin Allred Senate campaign. The fiery barrage of insults included "you dumb fat B," directed at Giuliana, and "out of touch" F slur for gay people. Began when the young staffers presented Carville with social media videos they've been working on to appeal to white male voters. Carville was not impressed by any of them and said they lack substance. When a visibly shaken gay male staffer, I don't know if any of this is true, but I love it. I love it. When a visibly shaken gay male staffer told Carville he needed to apologize for using the F word, Carville told him to take his camo hat and shove it before leaving the call.
Oh, fantastic.
So I don't know if it's true, but I want it to be true. As I said, it's an anon Twitter report, so I have no clue. But it sounds plausible to me, especially with the young Gen Z gay and female staff coming up with videos to appeal to white male voters in like Michigan. I can see the problem because I've seen the content that they've put out there to appeal to white male voters.
What do you mean? Alice?
All right, this thing, old school carburetor. You can always tell something about somebody's maintenance when how clean their air filter is. Look, to be able to work on this thing, you got a manual. It shows you exactly what to do to fix things on this. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance have a manual too. It's called Project 2025, and it's a way.
Now, whoever came up with this bit of native advertising, so this is what we do. We put him next to a car, which is the straightest, manliest thing in the world. We'll have him grab an air filter and have him use the word manual to pivot from the car to dangerous Project 2025. That way, since we showed an open car, all the dumbass grease monkeys in the western Pennsylvania are going to be drawn in, and then we educate them on the sly about Project 2025. Ha ha!
Right. Unfortunately, they're only good at convincing wine moms of stuff, which is why all the wine moms are all worked up over Project 2025. But they have failed to work up I have something else. The car mechanic voters.
Well, right, but they think Stephanie Rule. They all think that it's working. Right. All the people around us with the lawn signs don't just say Harris Walls. They have a dunking on you vibe to them. Mm-hmm. You know, hate is not great. You know,
hate will not make us great. It's about Madam Time. We saw that one the other day.
This is a dunking on you. These are people, by the way, who 11 years ago would never even have a lawn sign.
There's also Harris Walls, obviously.
Right.
We've seen that. Like, you're not trying to convince only yourself. You're trying to convince people who aren't like you. So if it's obvious, then you're not talking to the right people, because there's a whole bunch of people out there to whom it's not obvious that they're going to vote for Harris Walls, and you need to convince them. But like I said, it's a total lack of imagination.
Well, yeah.
Zero conception that there could be people out there that don't feel the same way. That's why the obviously.
And it also makes, they don't want to put her on TV getting interviewed because it'll make for a bad segment for her, because God knows what she's going to say. Well, we do know what she's going to say. But so now they're putting the surrogates out there to be slaughtered. And these surrogates, they know, like Chris Coons of Delaware was put out in CNBC. Or Fox Business, one of the two. He knows that she should be out there.
Right.
Or that, that there needs to be voters who are spoken to, and so he just takes a beating.
Do you believe that they deserve to know specific details about her economic plan? Should you know what your tax rate is going to be, or at least what she believes your tax rate should be, before you go to the polls? Should you know what the regulatory sort of regime in her perfected world would look like? I think these are sort of singular important questions. And you could say, maybe you're not supposed to know these things. But I think that's what people want to understand.
She's laid out a broad vision for what are her priorities. I think your average American voters got to look at the chaos, the unpredictability, the sort of careening around the field of the former president, and a vice president who says, to your point, we're going to keep a lot of the same policies and agendas. The first thing she came out with in terms of an economic policy, and it upset some in my caucus, was a proposal for a cap gains rate increase that was lower than what President Biden had been looking for. She's focusing on how do we build more housing, partnering with the private sector, removing regulatory barriers, providing incentives.
Right now,
and now how do we build more middle-class wealth?
What we've heard about cap gains. We've heard about $50,000 for small businesses. We've heard about building more housing supply and offering $25,000 to folks, who are first-time buyers. And we've heard about no tax on tips. Those are the 5 specifics that I can give you.
And what do you know about Donald Trump's tax and regulatory
agenda? But my question
is,
there's probably 5 or maybe 10 other specifics that I think most...
Well, there were the Trump tax cuts. So that's what you...
Yeah, we had literal Trump tax cuts that are largely in place right now. We had literal not inflation. We had literal low gas prices under Trump.
Right.
Also the no tax on tips was also stolen from Trump. So, I mean,
I
don't know.
The problem for them is that even though Trump is inarticulate and who knows where he'll go, bouncing around careening around the field, like Chris Coon says. We had 2017 through 2020. Yeah. And people look back on that and say, remember the on-label brand cream cheese? Those were the days.
People would want to know.
What about salt?
I'm sorry?
What about salt? The
salt. Look, I can't tell you exactly where that will come down.
It's a tough job because they're getting no help because she's so terrible. Here's Hillary.
Sadly, so many of those extremists, those MAGA extremists.
Oh, no, I didn't mean that's the wrong cut.
Do you believe that they deserve?
Hillary also said that she doesn't need to come forward. She's done enough. She's done enough. Here's
I mean, that's one strategy to try, and they can try it, and they're pushing for another debate because they still think that debate was good for her. I'm not convinced that debate really, even though I agree. I technically think she won that debate.
Yeah, well, yes.
On points,
she
right?
Came off composed, and he looked like a madman. Here's another.
But I'm not sure it actually was good for her in the polls.
Well, I mean, she did have a good polling weekend. This is Sandra Smith with the Kamala surrogate.
What is Harris's plan? We're waiting.
Yeah, okay, there's a lot of aspects to it in regards to looking at it online. So let's talk about lowering the grocery costs because that's something that's brought up. The viewers can look at this online. She talks about certain things in regards to advancing the first federal ban on price gouging on food and groceries, to set clear rules to the road to make it clear that big corporations can't unfairly exploit consumers as well.
Is that happening? Is that happening?
It's not at this moment. No, this is her plan that's laid out for the first 100 days when she becomes president of the United States of America.
Gouging, is that currently happening?
In regards to I don't know exactly if that's currently happening or not because I'm not privy to that type of information. But there are people.
But she's gonna make it stop. I'm not acknowledging that it's happening, but it will stop.
Are costing a lot of money in regards to groceries.
Okay. It seems like you're having a hard time articulating her plan.
I'm not. Honestly, that's not true. Please, I'm constantly being interrupted by you, which as a woman, I think is disrespectful. When I'm trying to speak, every time I try and speak, you speak over me.
Okay. Final thought.
Final thought. That lady just fired.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, I was giving you time there. All right.
Final thought, and she doesn't have anything. You're talking over me when I'm trying to get my point out, calling out the anchor only works if you're like JD Vance and you actually have something to say. If you complain that you're talking over me and not letting me make my point, and then the anchor goes, okay, so make your point, and you go, thank you for having me, because you have nothing else to say, then that's a problem.
It's very South Park, the movie. It's a tough look. But once again, that's where we are. And she can't really. I don't even know. I guess did we play any of the Oprah cuts? Were we even on for this?
We played the Oprah cut. Well, we played the Oprah cut that I had sent us. Where?
Oh wait, yesterday was Monday.
Yeah, we did Sunday's show.
Okay, yeah, the Oprah cut. That's unbelievable. So
we played that Oprah cut in the Patreon show on Monday.
The Oprah cut on the Patreon show. Okay, I just want to play it once again because it's one of the most amazing things that I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
That I've ever seen. And here we go.
We love our country. I love our country. I know we all do. That's why everybody's here right now. We love our country. We take pride in the privilege of being American. And this is a moment where we...
Hey, by the way, can I tell you, when she said the other day, I didn't see it in context, but when she said the other day that you break into my house, you're getting shot, do you realize that there was a school shooting victim who had just asked a question standing there?
I did not realize.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either. I just heard that it was just amazing.
Can and must come together as Americans, understanding we have so much more in common than what separates us.
Oof.
let's come together with the character that we are so proud of about who we are, which is we are an optimistic people. We are an...
She's trying to hammer it in still because she didn't get a reaction from Oprah.
Right, because everyone's looking at her like, are you the dumbest person alive?
Yeah. This is not... We don't have red states. There are no blue states. This is not like
She's
oratory.
delivering the applause lines with the affect of somebody who's like doing a great, big, important speech, and there's no reaction from anybody.
No. Yeah. This is a sale not going well. You're not pushing the halibut special effectively. Nobody wants the halibut. It's not like, say something else. The problem is she's not genuine at all. So you get an instant vibe with, oh, you're full of I see. And when people say that she's like an HR person, it very much to me feels like I'm in an HR orientation. And since I worked at 30 hotels, I went to 30 orientations, and all the same.
Except probably most of the HR people were smarter than her.
They were smarter than her, absolutely. But like the BS. Hey guys, hey team. Okay, Tom, I want you to know. I remember I started at the Parker House, and it was like we had to know. I want you to describe yourself using the same letter as your first name. And I was like, please, somebody, please let there be a sniper, blow my skull open right now and kill me. And there wasn't. So we came to me. Next to me was Amy, who was hot first day. And so she was awesome, Amy. And then they got to me, and I was like, because I wasn't able to put my mouth on a tailpipe of a car, I said, Tom, terrific. Oh, and she said, that's great. And that's the tone that Kamala has.
We are an optimistic people.
Because we've had the privilege. The privilege.
We are, which is we are an optimistic people.
Oh, man.
We are an optimistic people. Americans, by character, are people who have dreams and ambitions and aspirations. We believe in what is...
Kamala, don't...
Somebody said in the Patreon chat on Sunday night when we were playing this that she must be like on Xanax or something because it's very like, we believe that we have the character of people with dreams. We're an optimistic people. Like, it's just very relaxed. She really feels that she's onto something.
Well, yes.
She's like rolling.
The same way you can, like, you can feel... Bamboo plants grow so fast that you can hear them growing. And she does herself no favors because she'll come to something, the optimism, and she'll land on that word, and then she feels like she has, because she's not getting any validation from the audience,
right?
She's got to take the expedition further.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say optimism, I mean we have ideals. We have ideals. And nod people to death until they say, okay, we have ideals.
Okay.
And then she's on ideals, and then she's got to take it further. The bamboo shoots go even further.
Possible. We believe in what can be. And we believe in fighting for that.
She also gesticulates what can be and fighting for that. The gesticulating is doing a lot of work. In other words, I must be saying something deep because look at this gesticulating. Mm-hmm. Remember Khrushchev banging the shoe? You see? Something's happening here. It's almost like that she's trying to get the Kissinger effect, where Henry Kissinger has this great quote saying, having power is saying a terrible joke and people not laughing, assuming it's because they're wrong. I just butchered it. But anyway, having power is saying a joke that nobody gets and they assume they're stupid for not getting it.
Okay.
Sorry, Mr. Kissinger. I am the Kamala Harris of Henry Kissinger jokes of ditties.
That's how we came into being, because the people before us understood that one of the greatest expressions for the love of our country, one of the greatest expressions of patriotism, is to fight for the ideals of who we are, which includes freedom to make decisions about your own body, freedom to be safe from gun violence, freedom to have access to the ballot box, freedom to be who you are and just be, to love who you love openly and with pride, freedom to just be. And that's who we are.
And you can tell by the tone of the delivery that she's like, yeah, I'm really on something now. Here I go. The freedom to just
We're not fighting against. It's what we're fighting for.
Thank you.
Oh, Oprah's got to be vomiting. We're not fighting against. Well, you know, Oprah's probably also pissed off because she didn't bring her A game. It's like, do me a favor. I'm Oprah Winfrey. I'm throwing all in for you.
I'm voting for you. Yeah. I'm on your team. I'm trying to do this.
You have this platform. You have to make it look legit. You have to do your part.
Mm-hmm.
Be competent enough to at least come over here and have a spiel about something.
Right.
And
give us something to work with here.
Right. Oh, it's absolutely just it's brutal. It's brutal.
And not to say, I mean, she could still win.
What do you mean? Right now, she's heading towards winning, I think, at this snapshot moment.
But the longer this goes on, where she continues to, like, piss off people who want to help her win this election by just being so lazy and vacuous, the longer this goes on, the more obvious it's going to be, and it's either going to sway undecided voters more towards Trump or depress the enthusiasm of her own voters, right? Which is a big issue. They have a really big enthusiasm problem, and they especially have an enthusiasm problem amongst the segment of people who would really like to wipe Israel off the face of the earth. There's like sort of this big debate going on right now among people about like whether it's morally okay amongst like the pro-Gaza people about whether it's morally okay to vote for Kamala just because she dislikes Israel more than Trump does, but she's still going to support the quote unquote genocide that's going on. So like, is it morally okay to vote for her, or should they just abstain altogether from the whole thing? They're also trying to rehabilitate Ta-Nehisi Coates, who's like who after October 7th, Seth Mandel re-upped this and I noticed it. After October 7th, he said, Hamas militants on Saturday, after 16 years of siege, Hamas militants broke out of Gaza. More than 1,300 Israelis were subsequently killed, with over 100 more taken hostage. Like, what? Excuse me? But that's like how people on the far left and the type of people who are trying to like bring Ta-Nehisi Coates back into the forefront, that's how they feel about Israel and Gaza. And like it's a problem for Harris because those voters are, you know, they're not going to come out and vote for her potentially if she follows what the normal U.S. foreign policy is, which is that, you know, we support the existence of Israel, generally speaking.
Well, yeah, but we support Israel's right to exist, she says. But by the way, if you're a big Zionist or a Jewish and fan of the home state of Israel, that is weak ass.
Yeah, she's not like don't
do me no favors. Oh, we can exist.
Oh,
wow.
Thank you.
Yeah,
no. It's mighty white of you. But yeah, like there's really, you know, we talked about like the pager stuff. And there was all this outrage over this cartoon. Did you see this stuff? Somebody did a political cartoon that said like, "Oh, Rashida Tlaib's pager mysteriously explodes" or something. Yes. And like a bunch of people in Michigan, political people, came out and said it was like racist to have this cartoon. And you know, but like Rashida Tlaib supports the goals of Hezbollah and Hamas and those groups. Like, she's for them. So it's really not racist. It's not a question of her race. It's not because she's an Arab. Like, there are also fans of this show, like, for example, Leslie, who is Lebanese and is not a fan of Hezbollah.
Right.
and thought the pager thing was fantastic. So it's not a question of race. It's a question of like which side she's aligned with in these political battles. And these are real political issues in places like Michigan. You know, and Kamala Harris has been trying to avoid, and has been pretty successful so far, has been trying to avoid making any definitive statement other than, you know, not picking Josh Shapiro because he's Jewish and she was afraid that would piss off her base too much.
Right.
You know, that she's really stuck kind of between a rock and a hard place here, especially because there's a significant Jewish vote in Pennsylvania. There's a significant Jewish vote, by the way, in New York, where she is not doing that great. When we talk about how the state polls have been very weird lately, I think the voters aren't stupid, and you're actually seeing a very big difference in the ways voters are reacting to Kamala. Like, she does not have the same base of support as like Biden did, for example.
Well, yeah, right.
And that she actually might be losing support in some places where Biden did quite well, like Pennsylvania. She could be struggling in Pennsylvania, struggling in New York, you know, and maybe like doing better in some other places where he wasn't, like, you know, Georgia, North Carolina. It's a weird dichotomy, and you know that she's gonna have to like say something on these issues eventually.
Well, right, because you can be two-state solution forever. You can be, you know, stop the embargo of stuff to Gaza, you know, in open free shipping lanes to Gaza. Or you can also be Israel. It's the Jewish homeland. Israel has a right to be there, and Israel is under siege. And you can be, but you can't be a squish. You can't be in the middle, because the middle looks.
You can't be. I'm not Donald Trump, and I don't have to define any policy positions
because
on an issue like that where it matters to people.
Right. Trump is strong on Israel.
Yeah.
And it actually goes to one of his personality strengths / flaws, that he doesn't give a F what you think about him moving the American embassy. He's moving it. And
he said he was going to do it. He did it.
And the more you tell him that Bush didn't want to do it and that Obama was afraid to do it, he's like, yeah, absolutely, we're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
But you see it with Kamala even on Ukraine. She's squishy on Ukraine, too. She doesn't know what to say about it because she's an unserious person who doesn't have a thought-out policy position on anything, right? And it's part of what's so dangerous about her, the idea of her as president, is that she's at the mercy of these sort of forces that are bigger than her within her own party because she doesn't have any views on anything. She just wants to be a famous person and, you know, have people like her.
That was in the Peggy Noonan, I think, article. Was about that's what a California politician does. They become famous. Just like either you go into acting or politics.
Yeah, and she hates that people want her to have like policy positions on stuff. She just wants to be the Madam President. She wants the first female president, et cetera, et cetera.
She wants to be aromatherapy. That's it. See? It feels good, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like she's a spa treatment. That's a day at the spa. And that's what she wants it to be. Like, it's about feel.
But like privilege. Trump has opinions on Ukraine, and the foreign policy establishment doesn't always like them. He wants the war to stop.
By the way,
and he wants to make peace, and they're mad about that.
Yes.
Kamala Harris has no opinion on it.
Right.
She doesn't know if she wants the war to stop. She doesn't know if she wants the war to keep going.
Right.
She knows Putin's bad because he's associated with Trump, and Trump is bad. But she doesn't know anything about how she's supposed to feel about Ukraine, or where the borders of Ukraine should be, or whether or not this war should end, or how we should get there, or any. She has zero opinion on it. Like, actually, she doesn't. She'll say whatever she thinks she has to say to try and get out of the room where somebody's asking her questions, but she doesn't have an opinion on the Ukraine war, just like she doesn't. She fundamentally, like, people want her to care about genocide. She does not care about what's happening in Gaza.
You sound a little bit like Donna, and I'm getting a little excited.
Oh, sorry. But she doesn't care about what's happening in Gaza. She doesn't care if it's a genocide or not. She does not care about October 7th. She just wants people to stop asking her annoying questions about things like the Middle East or Ukraine. So that she can just be president already, because this is getting a little old where people keep wanting her to have opinions on stuff about faraway countries.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, Schumer got a question today.
Vice President Harris. Bang. Vice President Harris endorsed a filibuster carve out for codifying Roe. What is your reaction to that? It's something our caucus will discuss in the next session of Congress. Yes. Yes. It's something our caucus will discuss. Yes.
I think that means yes, absolutely.
Interesting development today. The son of the second Trump shooter was arrested.
Would-be Trump shooter. Yes.
Was arrested for child porn.
Yeah.
Which is sort of crazy. There's already a bunch of like people sort of wondering if this is some kind of like intel establishment set up thing, because they always get people on this. That being said, I think a lot of psycho leftists are into that for whatever reason. I don't know why it statistically seems to work out that way, but a lot of I mean, look at the Hollywood entertainer music industry complex of people. A bunch of them are into this, apparently. You take somebody like Kyle,
I was watching the
Kyle Rittenhouse shot some crazed violent leftists, and like a couple of them were into child porn. Like, I don't know what it is, but there seems to be some kind of like, either that is just really common in general, because every time you like randomly pick a crazy violent leftist, they're into that, or there's some kind of association going on. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know either. But there seems to be like, is it like a kink? Like, I don't know. Thankfully, it's not a problem I have. My newest addiction is gambling. I do not have that other stuff. By the way, the poor guy, the COVID czar, Dr. J. Varma, has been fired from New York. The guy with all the orgies during COVID. It's nice.
But like I say, like, how? I don't know anybody. Or I just don't know that they're into that. But like, I don't know anybody who spends their time going to orgies. Do you?
I do know somebody. One guy. I know one guy, yeah.
One?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's single.
But so apparently, like, they're out there, but I don't know, or I don't know that I know anybody who's into going to lots of orgies, but it just seems to be like on the left, they're like everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, how is it possible that like statistically this keeps happening? Or like when monkeypox came out and they were like, okay, guys, orgy safety protocols. And you're like, wait, what?
Well, hold on. Actually, I know the guy who's a friend I've known since I was 4. He actually goes to swingers bars and then goes home with a couple and hooks up with the wife. But he doesn't bring someone for the dude, which tells me it's probably why would you want an audience who's a guy unless the chick is incidental? Actually, does she really need to be there?
I don't know, but there seems to be on the left a lot of like weird, and in politics and Hollywood in general, a lot of weird sexual proclivities.
I'm putting out the pink flamingos in the yard today, Alice.
Okay,
we're swinging.
Okay.
What if nobody picks me? I mean, I'm famous. We saw it. Certainly if I went to Newburyport. All right. Should we do the shot chat, Alice?
I guess we should do the shot
What
chat.
are those? Are those for the baby, Cyril?
Those are for the baby.
Oh, very nice. Did any clothes arrive for your brother? From Amazon? Yeah. Did clothes arrive for your brother? Yeah. Oh, nice. You taking off your parachute right here? Hi. Hey, that's Cyril Janukovic. All right, here we go. Shot chat time.
Is it true that Kamala Harris, as Tucker likes to call her, took down all the stuff on her website that she worked for McDonald's, and she's no longer bringing that stuff up anymore?
Huh.
What a complete phony if that's true.
I don't know. Did you hear that?
I did not see it.
I believe she worked at McDonald's.
I see news stories that say Trump is obsessed with her working at McDonald's and he's escalating it for absolutely no reason, which tells me that maybe she didn't work at McDonald's for some reason, because that seems oddly defensive.
It's good for him to go after. It's good for him to go after because he has credibility with McDonald's fans. You know, the guy buys McDonald's for
Trump
people to eat in the White
cannot
House.
tolerate this bullet point on Harris's resume and has latched on to right-wing conspiracy theories that it was a lie. This makes me think it's a lie, actually.
Jesus, I just saw that AJ and Big Justice, the Costco guys, were at Barstool headquarters.
Oh, really?
This needs to stop. Most definitely needs to stop. You know, at this point, I'm hoping that the dad's involved with P. Diddy somehow. That's how bad these videos are.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I did. I don't think he is involved with P. Diddy. I did see that though. That is a tough one.
Hi, Steve from Merrimack.
Hey,
Steve.
This message is for Donna.
Hey.
Hey, Steve.
Hi, Donna. Do you wanna?
Ooh.
Welcome to the Pleasure Dome, Donna. Ooh. Thank you.
Yeah, I am.
Why do people like Donna more than me?
Oh, because she's better. I'm sorry. She's better. There's this great woman. Do you see the thing I sent to you? The woman saying all white men caused the end of civilization. And it was a great. I loved Donna's a great psycho. A great psycho. I remember when my real life Donna, who's actually Miss Susan from what's the place next to us? Melrose. Malden. I remember if I would say something wrong, she'd say, "Would you say? Would you effing say?" And she'd walk over to me and like turn her face like wrinkled and would you say to me? And she would club me like in the ear. It was like, oh, she was very violent. Very violent. I actually brought it up with her on Facebook like 12 years ago. She said, do you remember like how like punching me combinations of punches? She says, that was such a long time ago. Well, I imagine that's how she sounded on Facebook.
All right, motherfuckers. Christmas is coming early for the Longshoremen's Union. That's right. It's been a pretty nice economy you got going there. Be a shame if 45,000 brave dock workers shut down every port on the East Coast next month. They're out there sweating their balls off for a measly 200,000 clams a year.
Oh, love her. Love her. All right, Alice, you ready for the closing music to start?
I am ready. You somehow froze. I'm trying to get you back.
I froze. Get me back. Yo, got you back. Hold on. Ready? And...
Thank you so much for listening, everybody. We appreciate you and your patience with us yesterday. Glad to be back here with you. I don't know. I can't get it. Did somebody... I bet you your son kicked it. Yeah, it's unplugged. That's why.
Oh.
Yeah. Thank you for bearing with us through technical difficulties, emotional difficulties, all the types of difficulties. We appreciate you. BurnBarrelPodcast.com.
C'est la vie.